Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the beautiful souls watching us today. Welcome to our episode number 22 of our weekly series, What's Your Spark? Today I'm here with Jacqueline Wales from San Francisco, California, United States. Welcome to the show, Jacqueline.
But nice to be here, Regina. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you on my show today. Thank you. I'm tuning in from Miami Beach in Florida today. As my viewers know, I move around quite a bit, and I'm here right now in Miami Beach. And
Well,
Jacqueline, by the way, I also lived in San Francisco in the past, but that was years ago.
yeah, it's we're in different weather climates at this point in time, Regina. Hopefully, you're enjoying some lovely sunshine, and
Yeah,
we'll
it's
have
all
it
windy today, but that's fine. So it's warm. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess on your end it's a bit cooler. I know the
Well,
San
we're
Francisco,
still in the dark here because it's only 7 o'clock in the morning. So
right.
it was a little bit of a quick start for me today, but here we are, and I'm real happy to be here. So thank you.
Right, we're always ready. Okay, so I'm very excited to introduce Jacqueline Wales to you all today, so you can learn about her impact-driven spark. Please, everyone watching, as always, hit the like button and share your comments and questions in the comment section. I'm expecting a lot of great questions, and if you're not catching us live, you can still ask your questions or comment after you watch the recording, of course. Jacqueline and I will be checking on your comments and questions later today as well. Jacqueline, promise?
Promise,
Okay,
always.
awesome. Okay, so this series is for anyone who loves to be inspired by other women who are contributing their unique insights and creativity, their wisdom, their knowledge, their stories, their unique experiences. Yes, because we know that as we open up our minds to fresh perspectives shared by others and to new ideas shared by others, we also open up new possibilities for ourselves at the same time. Through these interviews with women around the world, we can grow from and with each other and be inspired to find our own spark or to just go deeper with it if we found it already, which I hope for you all. So this is then helping us to live even more passionate lives, even more purpose driven and impactful lives. You are meant to sparkle with your unique brilliance, whether you are an employee, an entrepreneur, a business owner, a community leader, or whatever your role is in the world, or wherever you want to make an impact and a difference. And today I have the pleasure to introduce to you Jacqueline Wales. Jacqueline is the CEO and president of the Fearless Factor. I love that. Fearless Factor at Work. So the complete name is the Fearless Factor at Work. And she's also a passionate champion for fearless change in that role. Jacqueline, are you ready to share your unique brilliance with us today?
Absolutely, right on.
Okay, I see, I see. So my first question as always is, what's your spark?
So I'm often asked, in terms of my spark, I have a fairly large personality in some ways, and it's really down to the fact that I am so passionate about helping women specifically make the changes in their life that move them out of the fear equation and help them to truly claim ownership and authorship of their entire lives. And that's what my work has been about for the last 17 years. So my spark is really truly the passion, the determination, and the fearless quality that is me that says basically you can do whatever it is you want to do as long as you want to do it badly enough.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. So I'm definitely on the fearless side, I think, as far as I can, I even in the past I didn't realize that so much, but when people always said, "Wow, you're taking all these risks and you just moving around in the world and doing this and that." We all do it in our own way, of course, right? But then, I became aware that yes, I am truly fearless. That doesn't mean that fear doesn't pop up, but we face it, right?
Yeah.
And that's really the fearless factor, I think, as far as I
Yeah,
get.
and that is a question I ask people
Yeah,
is like, what's your fearless factor? And
right.
when look at me with like, what do you mean by that? It's like, well, when fear shows up, where do you go?
Yeah.
And like you, I've lived on many different continents, many different cities,
Mhm,
traveled the world since I was really about 15 years old.
mhm.
So it's been a lot of risk and a lot of facing the fear and doing it anyway, as the old book said. But it's definitely that is my spark. I would say
Yeah.
I'm willing to show up and see what happens.
Yes, I can hear that in your voice even. So we are aligned in that for sure. And I started traveling the world a bit later because I grew up on a farm, so we didn't really travel, as a family that much. We went to the mountains often because my dad loved to go to the mountains, which is a lot of fun. But of course, as I moved at the age of 19 to Munich and then from there to Spain and then from there around the world. And it's just like, one thing led to the other. But what really drives people like us, Jacqueline, is that curiosity, I think, also in that adventurous spirit in a way, right? And everybody has a different plan for their lives, and that is exactly how it's meant to be. So it doesn't have to show up in this way for you. It shows up in a different way, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when one thinks about being fearless, my take on that is being fearless is not the absence of fear, as we mentioned earlier, but
Mhm.
it's the courage to take the next step and
Right.
having the curiosity to know what's on the other side of it. And when
Exactly.
we are willing to push ourselves beyond our discomfort to really find the answers we're looking for, extraordinary things happen. And I can tell you from my own life experience, I faced a great deal of fear in many times of my life, but I always knew that there was a way for me to push beyond it. And I think that's a big piece for anyone wanting to succeed. And of course, many people listening to this would go, "Yeah, well, that's kind of normal. This is what we do." But there's a lot of people who are find it difficult to do that. And
Yeah.
we're here to encourage. That's all I can say. We're here to encourage. Yeah.
Absolutely. And even for us, I mean, there are sometimes challenges that are a bit harder to tackle,
Uh,
I'm just going to two of them, I have to tell you, and just like, okay, but we're still here. And I think we also get that resilience from it to inspire others. And you mentioned courage, and that's exactly also why I included heart set in one of the pillars of my powerful leadership transformation coaching framework, which is a self-empowering mindset and heart set, because I believe that courage comes from the heart. But let me ask you the next question, Jacqueline. So how was it that you found your spark?
I think it found me. I do believe really that, I grew up in a very difficult childhood, and there was
Mhm,
a whole bunch of stuff that happened in the early part of my life that I wouldn't wish on anybody, frankly.
mhm,
And we won't go into it today, but through it all, there was a determination inside of me that no matter what, I would survive, and not only survive, but I would thrive. And push myself into situations that were very, very challenging in ways that a lot of people would look at and go, why would you want to go there? But I think that was really the piece where, the fearless piece, the spark. My spark has definitely got a name, and it's called Fearless. That I think is where it was born, and it was that insistent drive. And in the early days, I think it was driven by anger.
mhm.
And the anger was transformed eventually into compassion and caring and kindness and heart and love and all of these wonderful things. But it took a while in coming. So I would say that that's where the spark began.
Yeah, it's a transformation, right? So anger isn't always bad. All our emotions have a very important function. Otherwise, we wouldn't have them. It's just like what do we do with it, right? What do we do with them? How do we use them? Do we use them as indicators, as an inspirational force almost, right? As a motivator, as a trigger to get to a different place? right? So I
Yeah.
love that story.
And I think the anger can either be a driver or it can be a complete barricade. And it's the same thing with fear. I say fear can be a driver or it can be a barricade.
Mhm.
And fear and anger are very closely aligned.
Mhm.
But it's how you learn to manage them both, because it can be a positive,
Right.
provided it has some good outlets. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Some people even go so far as to say there are only two emotions, and on the so-called negative side, there's fear, and it's related to everything else. So we could go very deep into all this. It's very interesting, but we only have a few minutes today here. So I'm really curious now to hear on how you are making an impact through your spark. So I have an idea, of course, but can you tell our audience a little bit more about how it finds its expression and how you exactly help people?
So 17 years ago, I fell into coaching, put it that way. And I'm going to say fell into coaching. Circumstances in life changed, and I had to think about, what do you want to do for a career? Because I never really had one. And somebody said, you'd be a great coach. And I went, okay, well, I'll do the training. And off I went. And along the way, discovered that what my key factor was is that the fear that I had experienced through my life was really a major piece. And I was encouraged by my coach to go write about it. And that became my first book, The Fearless Factor. Out of
Wow.
that came a lot of speaking engagements, more coaching clients, and so forth. And then over the last 17 years, it's kind of evolved. 15 years ago, I created a program that I really called a transformational coaching program that I delivered in person with a lot of people. And then recently it morphed into a really vital and important online coaching program called Transformational Strategies for Success, which is what I'm now launching as of today, in fact.
Wow.
But the drive of my work and the drive of everything I do is to help women specifically rise up. We need more women in the world who are willing to take responsibility and ownership and authorship of leadership, because we need them more than ever. So that's really where my work has led me over the last 17 years. And I am extremely proud of everything I've created. I've written 3 books, I've made music, I've done a lot of traveling, I've done martial arts, I've done a whole bunch of stuff in my life. But this is the thing I am most proud of at this point in time.
Yeah, that's wonderful timing. It's almost like divine timing today. And by the way, today is a very magical date anyway, Jacqueline. Did you notice?
It
It's
is. It's a
January
111 day.
11, 2022. It's a Tesla date.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
111, which is 3, 222, which is 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. So Tesla came up with this 369. Amazing research. And it's all behind the solfeggio frequencies. They are healing frequencies. So this is a really magical date, you
And
know?
I think I came to it purely by intuition. I just looked at the calendar. I went, January 11th looks like a good day. Let's do it then.
Right, exactly. And we're really filling in for somebody else who had to cancel last minute because of an urgent work commitment. So thanks for being here today again and
Oh,
for having
pleasure.
this
I'm happy you gave me the invite. Truly. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great that we have such an aligned conversation here because we both do transformational coaching. We as I always say, there's no competition. We all do it in our own way. I also sort of stumbled into it in well, to a certain extent, right? I just about what was it now? What do we have? 2022. So about 10 years ago, I moved to New York City from Brazil. I just gone through an extremely painful experience with a business partner there. So I had a brick and mortar business there, and I had to really resolve all of this. And it went on for years. So my energy was very split during the first few years because I had to go back and forth. But I felt very debilitated. But at the same time, I was also determined to step into an out of victim mode into a self empowering mindset. And then there was a moment when I said, okay, I'm going to move to New York City. I had already lived in San Francisco at some point, but had gone back to Latin America for 9 years, Argentina and Brazil, where I had 2 businesses. And then what happened is I came to New York City, and then I said, okay, what am I going to do with all this very unique, eclectic experience like yours, Jacqueline, uh, where I was, just thinking, okay, what can I do with all of this that makes sense in the world and that can make an impact for people? And that's how this coaching business was born. So I haven't been doing it for 17 years, although I did a lot of coaching in my job at the Boston Consulting Group intrinsically. But I've now done it for a while too, and it's just so amazing to see the outcomes and the transformation, as you also said before. So this is also wonderful to hear, Jacqueline. So tell us a little bit about where people can find you. Of course, we have your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to tag you once we finish. But what's your website?
My website is jacquelinewales.com. Very simple.
Okay, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, I've spent the last 2 years really redesigning and redefining my entire business, and
Hmm.
it's been a very interesting time these COVID years, and I think they will go down in the annals of history as to how we as a species can make the changes we need to make. Because for myself especially, you sit there and you think about what's my priorities, what do I really want to do, and for anybody listening to this today and thinking about change, and you and I are very much in the same mindset with this. It's really a case of reset your priorities, because that's really what the world is asking us right now, is really take a hard look at what's important to you, and what is it that you want out of life. And of course, if you don't know the answers, you've got people like you and me to help you find those answers. And the greatest joy in my life, as you mentioned earlier for yourself, is being able to help people make the transformations necessary for them to fully claim their entire potential and their authentic selves. And that, I think, is really the biggest gift that I think anyone can be given, frankly. I know people gave it to me as I grew up, and just happy to pay it forward. That's
Yeah.
what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. I mean, when the lockdown happened in New York, I said I'm out of here, so I started traveling, and it certainly led me to new heights again. So I'm still based in New York City, but I'm traveling all the time, and was have been on several continents. Not the ones that the destinations I had originally planned, because they were all canceled, like Kenya. Uh, Nigeria, Rwanda was going to be my first trip again, and whatnot, in Kansas City, Hawaii, London. What It was a long list of engagements that were canceled, but then I traveled anyway, and I just turned it around to make it work for me somehow, and to rethink it through the times of all these restrictions and this oppression. So thank you so much again for sharing your very important spark with us today, Jacqueline. So before we close, here's my spark. As a multicultural transformational leadership coach, I help women employees achieve their next career goal through coaching and training so they can fulfill their potential. And by increasing their influence and impact, they also influence and impact their income. We accomplish this through my coaching framework, Powerful Leadership Transformation, as well as other modalities such as conversational intelligence and so much more. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, so that would be again tomorrow, I have a 60-minute live show on winwinwomen.com. To watch, just click on winwinwomen.com and follow the instructions to get to my show. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern. No need to pre-register and no possibility to pre-register. Just go online at that time and find my show. It's going to be on top of the list at that time. And join me at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. You'll also have a chance to ask any questions you want answered. And your questions and your comments will not be recorded. Only the content will be recorded. So it's a really great, safe environment for you to get free coaching. Thanks again, and I wanted to thank Jacqueline again, and all our wonderful LinkedIn friends watching. As always, we trust this show inspired you to uncover and express your spark fully and fulfill your potential in this way, because we need you. And please do click on like and share your thoughts in the comments, and also feel free to share this show either here or on YouTube, where I'm gonna posted the recording shortly. My YouTube channel is Regina Huber. So there you can also find a playlist of all the previous episodes of this show, of the LinkedIn Live series, What's Your Spark? By the way, the winwinwomen.com show is also called What's Your Spark? So we'll see that. And tomorrow I'll be actually interviewing somebody. So check out also my website, transformwithregina.com, and grab your free Career Accelerator mini course. Next week, I'll be back again here and you will meet delightful Kirsten Franklin. Kirsten had interviewed me for one of her podcast interviews in the past, and I wanted to really also interview her because she was just such a great host, and I think she's very interesting to listen to. So see you again next week and possibly tomorrow on winwinwomen.com.
Thank you, Regina.